The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Emma Curran, Events Coordinator here at ASTA. I will be the organizer for today's presentation, hosted by our partner Visit Hungary, hosting Discover Hungary, Budapest, and Beyond. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us. To ask a question, you will use your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of that pane, you'll see an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it'll open a new window pane. This is what you'll use to communicate with us. We'll be answering all of your questions at the end, but please feel free to drop your questions in the window pane throughout the presentation. If you're having trouble hearing us, please make sure your speakers are turned on, and if you called in, try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via the questions pane, and I'll do my best to answer them. Please also note that all audience members are muted. Now, please join me in welcoming Ivan with Visit Hungary.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us today, and big thanks to ASTA for making this possible. So I'm Ivan Ljubinkovic, Head of Tourism Development at Visit Hungary, and today I'll be talking about Budapest and Hungary, a colorful, vibrant, and safe travel destination. So a few basic information to start with. Although we're part of the European Union since 2004, we still have the Hungarian forint as a currency. So don't worry, it's very easy and safe to change it at various exchange points within the city. And bear in mind that $1 is equivalent to approximately 350 forints. Regarding climate, we have a mild continental climate with 4 distinct seasons. So right now it's quite cold in Budapest, but in the summer season it's rather hot. We don't really have seasonality in tourism, so people come the whole year. But for me, the best way to discover the city of Budapest and the countryside is probably spring. So between April and June, that would be the best. And the autumn period is very beautiful in September, October, when the temperatures are quite mild. Bear in mind that the electrical plugs in Hungary are type F, so standard European. So when you come or you send your clients, be mindful to tell them that they have to bring an adapter to be able to plug their electrical appliances. In Hungary, to start with a little bit of information about the country, an overview, if you will. Here you will find authentic, inspiring, and powerful experiences that will become lifelong memories. During Hungary's long and varied history, many cultures have influenced us, each leaving their mark. The diversity is still present today, whether it's the culture, it's the architecture, food, lifestyle, and actually character of the country and the Hungarians. It's very diverse. It's like an album that opens before the visitor's eyes. And what best way to discover Hungary than to visit its capital, Budapest? Visiting Budapest is actually like visiting 2 cities, because it's made of 2 cities, Buda and Pest, both with their own personalities. Not only is the atmosphere different, but the landscape is also different. On Buda, we have a higher ground surrounded by hills, while Pest is flat. And of course, the Danube flows through the city and gives way to the many ships that cruise to the city. Throughout its history, Budapest has been able to preserve its authentic and historical atmosphere, and at the same time become a modern, innovative, and lively city. Therefore, we can appreciate its natural and built heritage and its grandiose building and historic spas, enjoy its gastronomy, variety, and admire its fashion and art creations. Now, to give you a little overview of the city, we have the city center, which is easily accessible, only 30 minutes from the airport. And once you get there, everything is easily accessible by foot, bike, or the many tourist sightseeing buses or boats. We also have one of the most frequent and punctual public transportation networks with buses, metros, trams, and trolleys, many of them offering stunning panoramas of the city. The city is well spread, and you will never feel that you're squeezed between two tourist groups. The map actually shows you all the major attractions and their location in the city. So as you see, wherever you go, you have amazing tourist attractions, but they're not all squeezed in a city center. They're very well spread. Each ring represents 5 minutes walk. So as you see, you can easily walk through the city, but you can also use all the means of transportation that I've mentioned before. A total of 3 World Heritage Sites can be enjoyed with just a simple walk. The first is the Budapest Castle District, with its medieval buildings, the Matthias Church, the former Royal Palace, and the Fisherman's Bastion, that offer exquisite views of the city. The second one is the most iconic place in Budapest, the Hero Square, and the Andrássy Avenue. We call it the Champs-Élysées of Budapest. Under the avenue, you can take the Millennium Underground Railway, the second oldest metro line in Europe. The third World Heritage Site is in the heart of Budapest. It's the set of the 2 wonderful banks of the Danube, between the Liberty Bridge and the Margaret Bridge, where the Danube separates the city. The oldest bridge in Budapest is the Chain Bridge, which you have probably heard of. It's actually open now after renovation. So it's a beautiful bridge where you can pass by bike or on foot. One of the best ways to discover the city is actually taking a sightseeing tour on the Danube between the bridges on boats. We have various types of boats, going from smaller ones to bigger ones. We have speedboats, fixed schedule, medium-sized ferries accessible with the common public transportation tickets, and special boats offering sightseeing tours combined with cocktails or dinners. Budapest is not only inspiring thanks to the many experiences that first visitors can live, but also for repeat visitors, as the city is loved by many. And every time someone comes to Budapest, their first thought is, I have to come back. According to a study by Radical Storage, analyzing more than 800,000 reviews on TripAdvisor, Budapest is the city with the most positive comments in reviews, and that's something we see every day when we talk to our partners. Budapest has always been a cultural crossroad. In the Roman times, it was one of the biggest cities of the Limes, the eastern border of the Roman Empire bounded by the Danube. Today, Roman ruins are still visible in Óbuda, the northern part of the city. There's also influences from the Ottoman Empire, as the Turks occupied Budapest for more than 150 years, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire that brought to the golden age of the turn of the century, when most of the big developments occurred in the city. There's also a huge Jewish heritage in Budapest, and in the city center, you can actually visit the biggest synagogue in Europe, the Dohány Street Synagogue, and the whole Jewish corner located in the most vibrant part of the city. That's where you have a lot of restaurants and the whole nightlife of the city. Strolling through Budapest, we can all feel like time travelers. If we take a look at time of the Roman Empire in Aquicum, to the Classicist era at the Chain Bridge, or before the National Museum, the eclecticism of the Parliament. Visiting the Fisherman's Bastion, we can appreciate the neo-Romanesque, neo-Gothic, and neo-Renaissance art. The Museum of Applied Arts is an example of modernism, and MUPA, the National Theatre, represent modern art. Budapest Museum await culture lovers and those seeking refuge from the cold and heat with quality permanent temporary exhibitions. The National Gallery presents the nation's largest public collection of fine arts. The Museum of Fine Arts abounds with masterpieces from periods of universal art. House of Terror presents exhibitions commemorating the victims of dictatorships of the 20th century. In addition to the decorated halls of the Parliament, the second of its kind in Europe, there are jewels of the Holy Crown, accessible to the interested in historical relics. If you prefer to stroll through the multicolored streets and unique atmosphere of the city, you can find many works of street arts as well. The mural exhibitions, as well as the sculptures of Kolotko, that have come to serve as the basis of a treasure hunt game around the city. So these small sculptures are very interesting because you can find them everywhere in the city, and they represent a historical or a cultural feature of Hungary. As the creativity of Hungarians is world renowned, and it's no wonder that there is so many inventions that we boast about. Although not everyone knows that the match, the vitamin C, and the ballpoint pen are inventions of Hungarians. Not to mention Rubik's Cube, one of the world's most popular puzzles. Hungary also boasts a lot of world-renowned composers, such as Franz Liszt or Béla Bartók. And for lovers of fine music, the renovated State Opera reopened last year. So now it's time to come back and indulge in the masterpieces of the opera. There's also a lot of development in Hungary. And first of all, we have the developments of the Buda Castle district. We call them the Haussmann project. They're based on developing the whole Buda Castle district and reconstructing buildings that have been destroyed during the Second World War, during the bombings of the Second World War. First of all, we have the Royal Guard, the Rhine Hall, opened to visitors last year. It was completely reconstructed from scratch. We also have the St. Stephen's Hall, a part of the Buda Castle, which was completely walled by the communists when they were in Hungary, and now it's a beautiful room that you can see in the bottom right corner. But there's also a lot of other developments, buildings that are being rebuilt and that are waiting to open in the years to come. So every time you're going to come back to Budapest, you're going to be able to see new things. There's also developments on the patch side. So the Liget project is one of the biggest construction projects in Europe. Last year, we opened two of the main attractions of that area. So it's basically it's the central park of Budapest, a green area that was a little bit neglected, and now it's absolutely reviving with beautiful buildings. So the House of Hungarian Music that you see on the upper right corner, it's one of the most renowned, most beautiful buildings built in the last years. It won many architectural awards. It's a museum about music, very interesting, where you can discover history, Hungarian music history, and also there's a concert hall with a beautiful view of the park, because everything around is built in glass, so you actually see through, and that's a very interesting feature of that building. We also have the Museum of Ethnography and the Millennium House, which is a building that was completely in ruin and was renewed and reopened last year as well. One of the reasons Budapest is also so unique and authentic is because locals still live in the areas of tourist interest. As I showed you, the Liget project, the whole park, a lot of different developments have occurred in the park, making it very attractive for the locals as well. So it's not just a tourist attraction, it's also a place where families gather. There's parks for children. There's training courses for dogs. There's sports fields. You can play basketball, football. So it's a very, very lively atmosphere. And actually, Budapest is a city where locals are really active. We love to meet with friends and family in the cafes and terraces, but it's also very typical that people go up to the St. John's Lookout and ride with the cable car or walk around the banks of the Danube or at the castle. It's actually my daughter's favorite place. Very nice cake as well. It's very easy to join the flow of the city. So once you're in Budapest, you feel like you've lived here your whole life. And what better way to blow off some steam after a hard day's work than going to the terraces and rooftop bars opening fabulous panoramas of the city and multicolored Art Nouveau rooftops. As the sun sets, the city's impressive nightlife begins, and a myriad of indoor and outdoor venues await everyone. From laid-back cocktails to parties until the early hours of the morning. We also recommend visiting some of the more typical ruin bars of the city. These are located in the old abandoned buildings, often in their inner courtyard, offering a pleasant time to people just coming to chill and grab a drink. So this is a perfect example. This is one of the most renowned ruin bars, the Simple Kert, which is located in the Jewish district. So as you see, it's like a flea market in a building. Very, very interesting, and people really love to spend time here. And the atmosphere in the evening is completely different than the atmosphere during the day. So there's completely different. You can have concerts, live concerts, producer markets during the day, and buzzing nightlife parties during the nights. In addition to the history and cultural diversity represented by the architecture, culture, heritage, you can't miss Hungarian gastronomy. It's one of the most recognized attractions of Budapest. Hungary's gastronomy is a result of ideas and solutions inspired by tradition and innovation. The country awaits all visitors with creative recipes, quality ingredients, and friendly service, with a colorful combination of authentic modern cuisine. In Budapest, several fashionable restaurants have opened where I recommend trying the mangalica meat and goose liver. These are two very, very typical Hungarian dishes. So the mangalica pig is considered as one of the, it's the Kobe beef of pork meat. And the goose liver, of course, you probably heard of foie gras in France. Well, foie gras is also very, very popular here in Hungary. And actually, most of the foie gras going to France comes from Hungary. So there's more than 2,000 restaurants rated on TripAdvisor with 4 or 5 stars, offering opportunities and a lot of diversity in the cuisine. If you prefer having Italian or having Asian food, there's a lot of possibilities as well. But know that for Hungarians, food is very, very important. The country awaits visitors with creative recipes, but also very classical Hungarian food, such as the goulash. You've probably heard of goulash, but there's also many different kinds of street food and different pastries as well, because we love cakes. We love cakes accompanied with coffee or tea. There's amazing coffee shops in Budapest that people need to see when they come to Hungary. So you can have your Starbucks, but you should definitely come and taste some of the amazing cakes that we have and amazing coffee houses. Regarding fine cuisine and fine dining, This is a big, it's really an important part of Hungarian gastronomy nowadays. A lot of chefs are trying to top up their game, and I have to say efforts have paid off this year with 9 Michelin-starred restaurants. We actually have the most Michelin stars in the region. So that's to show how Hungarian cuisine is not just traditional, it's not just street food, it's also fine dining that you can find throughout the city and also throughout the country. Because this year, restaurants in the countryside have also acquired Michelin stars, and Michelin has made a guide for Hungary. So we had a Michelin guide for Budapest, and now we have a Michelin guide for Hungary as well. And that's a big achievement and a huge pride, huge honor for us, because the hospitality sector was one that was very hardly hit by the pandemic, and we're happy to see that they're back 100%. And what better to accompany the exquisite Hungarian cuisine than Hungarian wines? It's a lesser known fact, but winemaking culture in Hungary is thousands of years old. So we can safely say that Hungary is a traditional winemaking country. You will find unique volcanic regions such as Tokaj and Somló, and more than 100 grape varieties to choose from, many of which are indigenous to the country and are only produced here. The best way to discover Hungarian wines is to come to Hungary, meet with the creators, meet with the winemakers, and get personal experiences from them. And those ones you will remember for your whole life. And we like our wines so much that we dedicated entire festivals to them. So you can come to Hungary and visit a Hungarian region, wine region, and you will probably have some festival going on where you can taste wines, taste Hungarian food, and meet with people. So that's a very, very nice way to discover the country as well. Among the must-see festivals, we have the Ecek Picnic in Ecek, which is just a few miles from Budapest, or the Great Bikavér Festival in Eger that attract people from all over the world. Now, a very important part of Hungarian culture is bathing, spas, and wellness in general. And everything is oriented towards thermal water, because we have more than 1,500 springs in Hungary. 80% of the country is 80% of the country has underground thermal waters. Just in Budapest, we have 6 thermal baths that are actually historic buildings. The ones that you see here in the pictures are the most famous ones. So we have Széchenyi baths, Gellért baths, which all have different architectures and atmospheres. We also have Turkish baths, because, as I said before, there was 150 years of Turkish occupation in Hungary, and when the Ottomans came, they actually brought their bath culture with them. So it's the only city capital in the world with so many thermal baths, and actually giving so much diversity in the styles of bathing, because you have the baths that were built at the turn of the century, such as Gellért bath, which have a very Art Nouveau architecture. We have the baths such as the Rudas baths, which are absolutely Ottoman Turkish style baths. So these are all atmospheres that you can also immerse yourself into and give very unique experiences to people visiting. And then in the countryside, we also have thermal baths everywhere, but one of the most important ones is Havings, which is located in the southwestern part of the country. It's actually a thermal water lake. It's the biggest biologically active thermal water lake in the world where you can bath. So the temperature of the water is always hot, even in the winter time. So you can actually swim outside while it's snowing. It's a very, very interesting experience, and I suggest visiting when you come to Hungary. So this is a map of Hungary where you will discover all the destinations that we have highlighted as destinations of great interest for tourism. There's 11 of them, and all of them are breathtaking. All of them have something very unique to offer. And Hungary is not a huge country. So I think it's the size of Maine, pretty much. So you can come to Budapest and do daily trips, or take 2 days and visit different parts of the country. And for example, the Balaton region, which is, let me just grab the spotlight. The Balaton region, which is here, is only an hour away from Budapest. Eger, which is here, also an hour and a half from Budapest. 2 hours and a half from Budapest, you have the beautiful region of Tokaj. All of these offer amazing opportunities to discover Hungarian traditions, Hungarian heritage and culture, and discover a very unique part of Europe. During the pandemic, even in the most difficult times, we were convinced that the only way out of the crisis was continued development. Tourists were not coming that much, so we had time to make developments. And we did a lot of developments, especially in the countryside, where 35 new hotels are under construction, or some of them have already been finished. 14,000 private accommodations, guest houses have been renewed or built. Nearly 600 bed and breakfasts were constructed, and also beaches on the banks of the Balaton have been renewed. So a lot of attractions, castles, spas have been developed in the countryside of Hungary to offer a renewed, a fresh offer to tourists coming after the pandemic. So now we're after the pandemic. Now we are seeing tourists coming back, and we say you should go to the countryside as well, because there's so many things to do, so many things to see, and the offer is amazing. We also have a national heritage protection program because throughout its 1,000 years history, a lot of beautiful castles were built in Hungary. And in order to preserve this cultural and built heritage, the Heritage Protection and Development Program is actually renovating these buildings and giving them a new life. So these ones can be visited, and some of them are also used as hotels, accommodations. Not all of them. Some of them are very often used as filming locations for Hollywood movies. Just so you know, a lot of Hollywood movies are shot here in Hungary. Netflix, a lot of Netflix series are also shot here in Hungary. So you will probably meet American actors when coming to Budapest or Hungary. We have this development going on in the countryside. And these are some of the examples that you see in the pictures. One of the destinations that I would like to highlight in the countryside is actually the Lake Balaton. It's Central Europe's largest lake, and it offers a condensed version of everything that you can find in Hungary. So you have this beautiful lake. We call it the Hungarian Sea because Hungary doesn't have access to the sea. So the Balaton is the closest thing we have, and we really use it to the maximum. There's a lot of water sports that you can do on the Balaton. The water is quite shallow, so it's also good for people who don't swim or for kids. And the whole area around the Lake Balaton is very beautiful. You have amazing restaurants. You have one of the most beautiful nature reserves in northern part of the lake, with amazing trails where you can walk or bike. There's a lot of bike roads. There's actually a bike road going around the lake, 211 kilometers around the lake. So that takes approximately 3 days, and a lot of beautiful restaurants. It's actually a winemaking region. So the northern part of the lake and the southern part of the lake are wine regions as well, and they are very, very popular wine regions, especially for white wines and sparkling wines. You will find castles. You will find attractions. You will also find Caves, the lake, the thermal lake that I was talking about. It's actually very close to Lake Balaton, only 10 kilometers to the south. And so this Lake Balaton gives a lot of experiences, a lot of unique things to do when you come to Hungary. And the capital of the region is called Veszprém, and in 2023 it just became the European capital of culture. So there's a lot of cultural programs that are organized, whether it's in the city itself or in the Balaton region. So the whole region is going to be bubbling with cultural programs, concerts, and various activities in 2023. And whether it's in Budapest, where we talk about the banks of the Danube, the castle districts, and the Andrássy Avenue that I've mentioned before, whether it's the beautiful Abbey of Pannonhalma that you see here on the screen on the left. We also have the plains of Hortobágy, where we have the cowboys of the Puszta and the wild animals, wild horses, the Hungarian plains. Whether we talk about Hollókő, a medieval village that was preserved, that you see here on the lower right side, or the Oktelek cave systems, which span through kilometers and kilometers of beautiful cave systems. Also, all of these are UNESCO World Heritage Sites that you can discover in different parts of the country. So that can also be a very interesting approach to the country, visiting the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It's a whole adventure, just going to all these places, and around them you will discover beautiful regions and beautiful traditions. I just want to highlight our website, visithungary.com, where you can find a lot of information about Hungary. what you can do, what are the different regions. Every region has its own characteristics, so you can try and see what you can do if you stay 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. There's really a lot of information on the website. So these are all the things that you can find there. Of course, if you're coming in the springtime, summertime, wintertime, what are the different activities that you can do? What are the different places that you should go? And all of these are accompanied by very nice pictures so that you can get an idea. You will also find a B2B section, trade section for travel advisors with videos of different parts of the country, so different regions where we went and did during the pandemic. We went and shot small movies. We weren't able to bring people on fam trips and study tours, so we actually shot movies, making like if we were doing a study tour, so that people could get an idea of the regions. So you can also find them on our website. And of course, we are talking about Global River Cruise Expo, which is coming soon with ASTA, and unfortunately, it's coming to Budapest. So we're really happy about that. And some of our partners have actually made pre and post tours for you. So I will present them. All of you who are coming to Budapest for the River Cruise Expo, you can book these pre or post tours through our partners. And if you have any questions, you can contact them with no problem. So the first is proposed by Continental Travel. We have a beautiful tour in the western part of Hungary with a visit of the UNESCO World Heritage Pannonhalma Abbey, the Baroque city of Győr, the Esterházy Castle, known as the Hungarian Versailles, the city of Sopron at the Austrian border, and the picturesque town of Kőszeg. Beautiful places in the western part of Hungary. So if you have clients who are finishing their river cruise in Budapest, and you want to take them back to Vienna, let's say, you could easily take this tour or use this tour in your package, and make them discover the western part of Hungary through it. And to get an idea of how it's going to look like, I definitely suggest that you book your trip here. Then we have OTP Travel with a culture and gastronomy tour starting in Budapest on the Margaret Island. The beautiful Balaton region follows. So we talked about the Balaton region and the city of Veszprém, so European Capital of Culture this year. You will visit Herent, the porcelain manufacturer, where you will take part in a master class. You will be able to make your own porcelain, and the Zierz Abbey and its brewery with amazing. It's a really beautiful abbey, and the beer is very good. You will also visit Pannonhalma, the UNESCO World Heritage Abbey, before leaving to Budapest. Then Tour East Tour offers an exciting Jewish heritage tour starting in Budapest with an overview of the most important Jewish sites of the capital. You will then take a trip to the eastern part of the country, the UNESCO World Heritage wine region of Tokaj, and discover the rich history of the region between synagogues, vineyards, and walk in the footsteps of the Wonder Rabbis. You will also discover Debrecen, the second largest city in Hungary and an important part of the Hungarian Jewish culture. Wine & More offers an exquisite culture tour focused on wine and gastronomy, starting in UNESCO World Heritage Hollókő and Eger, the capital of Hungarian red wine. The tour will take you to Tokaj and its cellars to discover the wine of kings, the king of wines, the Asu, one of the most expensive wines in the world. The trip will end in one of the cornerstones of Hungarian luxury, the Botanic Castle of Tura. Wine & More also offers a daily post tour in the region of Eger, the closest wine region to Budapest at only 14 minutes from the capital. Partake in wine tastings, discover Hungarian specialties, and discover the place where people from Budapest love to spend their weekends. An amazing tour to discover Hungarian wines, definitely. And then we have Sweet Travel that offers pre and post daily tours to either the Danube Bend, so the region closest to Budapest, with the picturesque town of Szentendre with its art scene and craftsmen, the formal capitals of Hungary, Visegrad with its medieval castle, and the city of Esztergom with its basilica, the biggest basilica in Hungary. You see it here on the left on the screen. You can also take a daily tour to Eger and discover its castle ruins, where the Turkish army was defeated during the Ottoman conquest by the Hungarians, and indulge in a series of wine tastings to discover the region's most famous liquid treasures. So all of these are available through our partners. Feel free to book these. I really recommend. These are amazing tours to discover the countryside and see how easy it is to do trips outside of Budapest. So when you have your clients coming to Budapest, you can easily make them discover the rest of the country as well. So thank you for your attention, and you have my contact right in the right here. You will also receive the presentation, and if you have any questions or if you have any requests, feel free to contact us. We're here to help you and make sure that all your projects in Hungary are successful.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ivan. That was super informative. And I don't know about everyone else on this call, but that made me so excited to be back in Budapest in March for the River Cruise Expo. We do have quite a bit of questions. I will try and get through as many as I can. If we don't get to your question, I will be sending these over to Ivan after the webinar today, and he can touch base with you from there. So Ivan, I'm just going to start running through a few of these. First question is the synagogue open for visitors again? I know historically it was closed in the past.
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, yep, no problem. Is the synagogue open for visitors again?
Yeah, it is. You can. You have to book a sightseeing tour with when you go there. You can either book it in advance, or when you come there, you can book it at the counter. But yeah, you have organized visits. So you have to have an accredited guide from the synagogue to enter.
Perfect, thank you. And then can you repeat the name of the thermal lake that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, it's Hévíz, so Heviz. It's the Lake of Hévíz. It's in the southwestern part of Hungary, just under the lake Balaton.
Fantastic.
And the city, there's a city. It's the name. It's Hévíz town and Hévíz Lake. You have a lot of beautiful hotels as well in Havis, offering a lot of wellness treatments, a lot of also rehabilitation for people who have problems with articulations or bone problems. So it's a thermal water that has health benefits as well.
Perfect, thank you. And then can you please repeat the food that you mentioned, the pork that you mentioned, along with the goose liver that you fry, and spell it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's mangalitsa or mangalitsa. So the orthograph would be MANGALITZA for an English. If you look it up with TZA, it should work, but it's Mangalitsa with the TZ instead of the TZ. You can write C, so MANGALICA, and it's a very unique variety of pork. It's a hairy pork actually, so very interesting. And it's usually it's not an indoor pork; it's rather an outdoor. So it loves to go through the forest and eats a lot of acorn and things like that. So a very healthy meat.
Thank you. And then what is the typical temperature in Budapest during March? What can we expect
during March? I suppose people are already trying to figure out what they should take in their luggage, right? I'd say you should prepare for cold, but it could be mild as well. When I say mild, it could be well, 10. I don't know. Yeah. In Fahrenheit, I don't know how much that would be, but I'd say between around 10 degrees Celsius. 10 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit. Sorry.
That's okay.
But around 10 degrees, yeah.
But yeah, so about like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, pretty mild.
We had a very hot winter up until January. So in December, we had around 15-20 degrees Celsius. That was a lot. And now it's getting colder. So now it's minus 5 degrees. There was a little bit of snow, but the weather is beautiful. So it's sunny, and during the day it's really nice. So not a big deal. But you should definitely bring your winter jacket to be sure.
Thank you so much. And then I'll just read a couple more. When are the wine festivals held?
Well, there's wine festivals throughout the year. There's wine festivals in May, June, but also September, October. It all depends on which ones you're looking for. We are usually communicating on these. So if you wish, we can send you information about these. All the festivals usually have their own websites where they communicate on programs, things to do, what to see, etc. So yeah, during the springtime, there's a lot of these festivals. Of course, the weather is much better, and people start to get out. So that's the perfect time to try the new wines as well. And September, October is rather oriented towards it's the period when they do the yeah, I don't know how we say that, but when we pick the grapes, and that's the moment when the process of winemaking is starting. So that's around the time where we have also wine festivals. So I'd say spring and autumn for wine festivals. But we have a lot of other festivals, not wine related. Food festivals. We have in August we have the national holiday with one of the biggest firework in Europe. So there's a lot of different festivals and
Great.
yeah,
Okay.
festivals and yeah, things that you can do like this.
Yeah, it sounds like there's always something fun to do and something exciting going on in Hungary. I will ask one more question, and then, like I said, if we didn't get to your questions today, I will be sending them over to you, Ivan, so you can do some outreach. So the last question is, in your opinion, what is a good length of time to visit Hungary and explore Budapest and the surrounding areas, so you can kind of see a good deal of what there is to see?
I think that a week is perfect, because in a week you can see a bit of Budapest. You could spend 1 week in Budapest as well, easily. But if you want to, if you're time savvy, I'd say 1 week to 10 days to be really, spending more time in Budapest and going a little bit to the countryside. As I said, you can do daily trips to many of the destinations. The furthest destination is at 2.5-3 hours from Budapest. So basically, you could get a hotel in Budapest and travel to a countryside destination, spend a day and come back. But you could also spend a few days in Budapest and then start a trip through the different parts of the countryside, like you will be able to do with the pre and post tours that our partners are offering. So I definitely suggest taking a look at them, because they are a very good inspiration for what to propose to your clients. So I think that there are around 4 to 5 days, 3 to 5. So that should give you an idea about the countryside. You could do a lot of things in the countryside in 3 to 4 days, and then you can add 3 days of Budapest or 4 days of Budapest. So that gives you an idea of the length of stay in Hungary. So I'd say around a week, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today, and thank you, Ivan, for a fantastic presentation. This concludes today's webinar, and we hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to see you guys in Budapest in March.
Okay, thank you very much, and see you in Budapest.